Greetings all, Variety 601 here. Welcome back to Flight Simulator 2020. Welcome to runway 4 right here at Newark. We've got the 787 here today, and we're going to fly to Bermuda because I am sick and tired how cold it has been here on the East Coast. So, yeah, that is the game plan. We'll be flying into sunset over the North Atlantic, so that should look pretty cool. We should have decent weather the whole way. Obviously, we've got some medium altitude scattered cloud cover at the moment with some higher cirrus, because we are still recovering from a snowstorm. But hopefully everything will start to clear out as we get further east and, of course, heading somewhat south as well. Should be wonderful. First off, got to get some power in this thing. We are sitting on a runway, and we are interrupting air traffic in the tri-state area, so we'd best remedy that situation. Got a battery master on, and we'll get some fuel pumps here for our APU. Get the APU started. We've got an IFR flight plan scheduled for RNAV into Bermuda. So that should be wonderful. And you can see our departure corridor there. I'm going to do a little bit of a loop just north of the airport, and then we'll head out due east. The APU just finishing its spool up. Here we go, APU gen on. All right, so all that's good. We'll be getting ourselves some engines. Got some strobes on. Some lights on. Gonna turn off our anti-ice systems here for the moment. Don't know if I'll need them. Maybe, maybe not. Let's get the left engine up. Start. We have N2. Those are the internal turbine stages. We'll be getting N1 on the scope shortly. There we go. Our altimeter set there. Nope, 3049er is where we are. Waiting for EGT. We've got fuel flow. Oil temp coming up. EGT coming up. All right. Oil pressure is good. And the exhaust gas temp will keep rising for a time. The starter will cut out. EGT is dropping off. Starter is disengaged. We are up. We'll get the generators up for engine number 1. Engine 2, starter engaged. All right, got N2. Gonna bring the flaps down to 10 degrees for takeoff. So going to get our auto brake armed for RTO in the event that we need to abort the takeoff. Spoilers are armed. And light off. EGT coming up past 370, 380, dropping off. Starter out. Okay. Both engines up. They'll settle out at idle. Bring the APU offline. And APU off. All right. All of our center pumps on. Some landing lights on. Both engines are stable at idle. That's all fine. A little bit of a higher eye point here. Flaps are at 10, RTO armed on the auto brake, spoilers armed. We're going to fly this departure, I'm going to say at about 200 knots, from some pretty tight turns actually, maybe even a little bit lower speed than that. We'll set up for 185 and see what it does. Altitude out of here, probably 12,000, but who knows. Vertical speed, I'm going to set us up for 2,000 a minute. Auto throttle's not going to like that, but whatever. Going to disarm the auto throttle for takeoff. Heading is runway heading. And of course we'll get LNAV up once we get in the air. Bring the HUD down, not showing me anything I really need to see. From this vantage point it's a little bit better. So take off from the lower eye point, I suppose. Parking brakes are disengaged. Generators are up, running the airplane off the engines. APU is off, all the fuel pumps are on. De-ice is off for the moment. We'll see if we need them. Throttles coming in. A good spin up, we're rolling. And toga. Airspeed's alive, there goes 40. Bit of a crosswind settling in. 80 knots. 100. 120. 140. 150. V1. Rotate. V2, positive rate. Gear up. Auto throttle's coming in, dropping off. Autopilot on, LNAV, there we go. And radio handoff.
119.2 Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
PS went all over the place, get it back down. New York departure, hello.
New York departure, Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray is at 1,700 feet, climbing 13,000 feet.
Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray New York departure. Continue to IEZA 4 as planned. Altimeter tree 0.49er.
Right, so that's our first beacon for our departure. We are on the departure path now. That's all fine. Get rid of the HUD, put higher up, see out the window. Statue of Liberty, right ahead, 12 o'clock. And then, of course, Jersey City and Manhattan. Out there, that's Kennedy Airport. Cool stuff. And you gotta look outside. Yep, all the places that you really don't ever want to visit because there's nothing good here. Once we get up to altitude, obviously we'll increase speed quite a bit, and our total flight time is probably going to be around an hour and a half, believe it or not. Of course, restricted for our maneuvering speeds here. Coming over the Hudson. Manhattan, right below. There we go. East River Bridges. Cool stuff, I like that. Even this somewhat overcast day. Looks good. Flight level 180. Roger that. We'll get that loaded in. We'll acknowledge the instruction.
Climb and maintain flight level 180, Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
180, that's good. I think we've basically bypassed the weird departure pattern. Yeah. Take us due east now, that's fine. When we get to 10,000, obviously we can disregard our speed limit. We're going to go to flaps 1. We'll increase our speed to 250. There's Kennedy Airport, looks good. Flaps up. And we got a rate of climb coming back and the throttle's coming back. That looks good. We're going to head through some clouds here in a moment. Don't have the de-icing systems on. We'll see if we get any sort of icing effects when we head through the cloud cover.
Boeing 1 Echo, X-ray contact New York Center on 121.125.
Going to 121.125, Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
All right, New York Center, hello.
New York Center, Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray is climbing through 9,100 feet for flight level 180. Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray, New York Center, continue to Juliet, Foxtrot, Kilo as planned.
3050. Yep, getting some icing there across the nose and on the intake sides of the engine nacelles. Nothing on the windscreen yet. I am going to turn some of our anti-ice systems on though. Get our engine de-icers up. Flying directly over Kennedy. Right, we're at 10,800, so goodbye 250. Hello 350. Climbing at 2,000 a minute. Airplane is happy to do that all day long. Breaking through the clouds now. There we go. That's a shot. And we can really start to zoom out there on our ground track. Ultimately, we're going to be cruising at 41,000, so I'm going to throw caution to the wind on this stepped ascent and just pre-select 41. Hopefully, we won't be between radio transfers when they give us the instruction to ascend more. And at this point, our ground speed, airspeed discrepancy is settling in. 394 on the ground speed, 321 indicated there on the airspeed. That'll continue all the way. By the time we get up to 41,000, our ground speed's going to be like 590 something, and then our airspeed will be around 280.
Boeing 1 Echo X-ray, contact Boston Center on 132.3.
132.3.
132.3, Boeing 1 Echo X-ray. Boston Center, Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray is climbing through
Throttles.
13,700 feet for flight level 180.
Boeing November 781 Echo, X-ray Boston
3050.
Center, continue to Bruno as planned. Altimeter tree, 0 decimal, flight 0.
All right, next instruction is going to be another climb.
Boeing 1 Echo, X-ray contact New York Center on 121.
This is not what I wanted to have happen here.
Going to 121.125, Flight
Into
Boeing
some more
1 Echo
clouds.
X-ray.
And we'll get the transfer done, and hopefully we don't miss the instruction to climb past
New
18,000.
York Center, Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray is at 16,000 feet, climbing flight level 180.
Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray, New York Center, continue to bound as planned. Altimeter tree 0.50.
Right. We have to watch our overspeed here because as we get higher, the overspeed margin drops lower in terms of indicated airspeed, so we'll have to dial the engines back a bit. 1,000 feet to our assigned flight level. We will obviously go higher. That GS 465. Should be getting an instruction at any moment now.
Boeing 1 Echo X-ray, climb and maintain
There we go.
flight level 310.
310.
Climb and maintain flight level 310, Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
Basically enveloped in the mid-level cloud cover here at 18.8. Just see the sun, and that's about it. Some more icing along the nose of the aircraft. Yep, see that. Hard to tell against the livery, but yep, it's all caked in ice. Nacelles got some ice in them. Wing leading edges got some ice on them, but again, we do have the de-ice active now. That's fine. And there goes 20,000. Could have done this a while ago. It shut down the landing lights. Don't need those. Everything else will be fine. Get up to cruising altitude, and then we could kind of settle in here. This camera's external 12 out the window. There we are. Not much to see at the moment. Get above this cloud deck, and hopefully we'll at least get some blue sky as we head in towards sunset. And we're traveling eastward, so we will actually be accelerating the time to sunset. See a bit of wing flex going on with some turbulence. Actually see the engine flexing as well. At least the engine flexing relative to the wing where it's attached. The engine itself, it better not be flexing all that much. And still a total whiteout. We're at 23,100. We recalibrate the altimeter now. There we go. Adjusted now for neutral or standard pressure. We're 22.8. We'll come back through that area. And that's all well and good. Zoom out a bit, take a look at what our weather's showing. Yeah, have a look. Got ourselves some appreciable cloud cover. That's the 640 scope. I don't think the radar will really extend too much farther. No, that's about it. But it does start to clear out not too long from now. And ultimately we'll be above all of this weather before too much longer. Shader's going a little bit crazy there. 5 nautical miles to our next intersect. And then they start to become a little bit few and far between as we head over the ocean. A little bit of a right turn now, or a left turn rather. Now a right turn. We're starting to see, yep, we're starting to see some breakout of the clouds. That's good. Got blue skies. There goes 28,000. Again, they've assigned us 31 at the moment. We will go all the way up to 41. Ground speed 532, indicated airspeed is 318. So there you go. There's 30,500. There we are. Wait for the command.
Boeing 1 Echo X-ray climb and maintain flight level 410.
All right, good stuff.
Climb and maintain flight level 410, Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
Decrease our rate of ascent here to 1,500 a minute. $32,000. Man, this is some thick cloud cover. I think we are finally getting to the top of it. Yeah, I'm starting to see some stark shadows in here now. We have sunlight. All right, we do have Bermuda on the 640 scope. Tell it to hold 325 once we get up there. Okay, we're no longer in a cloudy coffin. Way 15, give us a little bit more overspeed margin because we are still ascending after all. Have a look at that. That looks pretty. Very, very nice. We are continuing to lose indicated airspeed here. Ground speed is holding pretty well. Oh, a little bit of a left turn. There goes 40,000. Be leveling off here very shortly. We are leveling off. There we are. Overspeed looks to be about 300 knots. Tell it to hold 295 once it gets back up there. Showing 250 indicated right now. Ground speed, just waiting on 600. There it is. 600 is the ground speed. Mach number is 0.838 and accelerating. Take a look outside. Not all that much to see. Pretty much unbroken clouds now. Stark shadows all over. Sun is low on the horizon. Does look very nice indeed. Those are some high cloud tops, though. We didn't really get above them until about 33, 34,000. So we can watch the sunset here from the window. Very cool. See the color change there as the sun gets lower and drops below the clouds. Obviously, the clouds will be illuminated from below, according from our perspective, for a time. When we see sunset, the ground, or in this case, the surface of the ocean, will not have seen sunset yet. Very nice. Just the top quarter or so of the sun remains visible. If you never actually have seen the sunset from the air, it is a very cool thing to take a look at. I highly recommend it. However, this is actually pretty close. I'm continually surprised by how good visuals are here. Just the little top wisps of the sun remaining. Slowly disappear by refraction effects, really, at this point. There we go. I'll call that sunset here from our observer position. Actual sunset is still a few minutes away. You can see how the colors of the clouds have apparently changed outside. There you go. Now the airplane's still being lit very intensely, obviously, but filtered through the sunlight. Shadows not quite as sharp as they were. And of course, now we can start to see some stars coming into view. And over there, you can actually see the darker band of the sky. That is the Earth's shadow, believe it or not. Obviously, we see the Earth's shadow all the time. We call it night, but a little bit of a different effect seeing it from up here. See the side of the airplane get dark real quick as the sun drops below the actual horizon, not the apparent horizon. Right. That just got real bright all of a sudden. Get a break in the clouds over there, or nope? Nope, that's just the lighting system losing its mind a little bit. Eventually, obviously, the reflections will go away from the windows and the shadow will essentially disappear. Yeah. That is quite the dramatic contrast. Definitely liking all of that. Right, everything back here in the cockpit looks copacetic. Ground speed is 643. Indicated airspeed is 277, so you see where we are. Overspeed is just under 300 knots. We're at Mach 0.906. Starting to get some reflections there from our instrument panel. They'll continue to fill our field of view here in the window. One of the other things that this sim does amazingly well, some aircraft, not this one because the glass geometry doesn't really allow for it, but some airplanes that have a glass cockpit, in terms of having all the electronic displays, you'll see the displays reflected in the cockpit windows, and they're actually readable. It's really cool. Yeah, right now I think we could say it's properly nighttime. That is quite the picture. A little bit of a right turn. My eyes deceiving me? Are we maybe getting to the head of this weather front? May we actually see some ocean below us? Or would we if it weren't dark? Maybe. It's cool. Taking a look at the sky, there's the moon. See the band of the Milky Way. Constellation Orion visible there. Cane Maoris, or whatever they call it. The big dog. See almost the whole northern sky from here. Very nice. Speaking of, north will be roughly this direction. Can we see? See if we can use some star navigation if we had to. Yeah, that's the Dipper, isn't it? Yeah, I think that is. I mean, roughly this direction would be northerly, and our compass here checks out with that. Okay, good job, Flight Simulator. You've got astronomically correct stars here. You can actually use them to navigate in a pinch. Cool. Provided you can see them, of course, because, you know, instrument panel. Yeah, I think we actually are going to get a break in the clouds. Also, I think we can start to zoom in a little bit on our MFDs. Yep, got Bermuda on the 320 scope now. And as you can see, the weather actually does start to clear out. So we're gonna get ourselves some clear air.
Boeing 1 Echo X-ray, contact New York Center on 128.5.
Huh, an actual radio call. How about that?
128.5 for Boeing 1 Echo X-ray. New York Center, Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray, flight level 410.
Boeing November 781 Echo, X-ray New York Center. Continue to Kiner as planned.
Very cool. Bermuda actually should be pretty much in the clear. Maybe a little scattered clouds at higher elevations, but should be fine for where we're going. Speaking of fine for where we're going, cabin altitude is 97.85. That's fine. 101,000 pounds of fuel left, which is plenty and then some. Some of the stars there low on the horizon, they're getting refracted as well. That's cool. Just don't get to see things like that on the ground. Very cool. Have a look at that. Higher cloud layers dissipate. See down lower toward the actual horizon. Cool. That's cool stuff. $41,000. Engines look great. We are right down the pike in terms of where we need to be going. Descent point's about 280 or so nautical miles out. Our next intersect, 92 and change out. Ground speed is 618. Oil temp, oil quantities are good, oil pressure good on both. That's cool stuff. Engines have basically been running upwards of 90% the whole time. But we are burning a lot of gas, but that's fine. We got a lot to burn. Actually, our CG was out of limit at takeoff, so hopefully we'll get the CG a bit closer to being within limit by the time we get it down. So, be all right. We'll start thinking about descent before too long. Not quite yet. But we'll get there and we'll deal with what we got to deal with. Change our panel lights if we want. Pretty happy with where they are. Glare shield. It's the upper panel there above the displays. They got dimmer. You can turn it all the way off if you want. There's the backlight there for all of our labels. Don't seem to have an operable dome light. That's fine. HUD is all sighted up wrong. Yeah. Oh well. So just have to use the big screen a little bit lower down for reference on landing. Not a problem. Just past 50 nautical miles to the next intersect. And then things will start to happen kind of quick. Head back outside. Man, it takes a while for the twilight to go away up here. Can actually see the curvature of the Earth. That's pretty remarkable. And down there, way down there, 41,000 feet down there, that's the ocean. We did get ahead of that weather front. Very nice. There's always something to see, even when you're just over the ocean and nothing really to look at down below. Always something to see up above. The sim never disappoints in that regard. Coming up on 1 hour here. Be on the ground before hour 2, that's for sure. There we go, the 1 hour mark. We've got, let's see, decrease our range to 160. Decel point is now on a 160 scope. We'll be getting into our descent and decel a little bit earlier than that. We'll get a little bit of a right turn coming up in about 12 nautical miles. Won't be anything significant. There's 4. And we'll start to get a little bit of a roll to the left, followed by a roll to the right. There we go. And we're lined up with our next beacon. That's 47 nautical miles out. And then from there, we pass the next beacon. Our decel point is just beyond the following one, and then it's going to be a direct approach in. Really not all that much remaining. So weather, again, nothing appreciable around Bermuda. That'll be okay. Terrain on the HUD, nothing there. Get lower down to get really good terrain data anyway. And that's all good. Ground speed still tracking at 606. Next beacon, perhaps a very slight realignment to the right, because you know the Earth is not flat. You know, it curves. So little course corrections every once in a while are necessary. That, and it's also rotating underneath us and all that. Coriolis and things. And 6 nautical miles out to the next beacon. Next one is 82 out there. And from that point, things will be happening. Probably.
X-ray descend and maintain flight level 330.
I was about to say we're probably going to get a call to descend pretty soon. There we go.
Descend and maintain flight level 330, Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
Flight level 330, gotcha. Send at 1,000 a minute. Right, we are starting to close in on our destination. We will get a pretty significant turn to the right at the next marker. 70 nautical miles out from that, of course. Now on the 80 scope, get the other side synced up. And again, weather is looking marvelous. Expedite this descent a little bit. We went up at 2,000 a minute. We can come down at 2,000 a minute. Throttles to respond. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Through 38,000. Switch back over to our airspeed hold in knots. Getting little hints of sunlight over there. That will diminish as we get lower.
Boeing 1 Echo, X-ray descend and maintain flight level 270.
270, gotcha.
Descend and maintain flight level 270, Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
Yep, I said things would start to happen reasonably fast, and they are. There goes 32,000. Next beacon is 18 nautical miles out. Okay. Yeah. Descending nicely. There goes 30. Three, 5-0. Might just barely get into some overspeed territory momentarily. The lower we go, the more margin we get. Seeing light out there. Yeah, that's Bermuda. Land ho. All right. So that decel point's going to be pretty critical because we start to get into some tight maneuvering. So we're going to want to make sure we're 210. Gotcha.
Descend and maintain flight level 210, Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
Yep, so we're going to want to make sure that we are below some reasonable speeds here before we get into that decel point. Runway 12 is our next true waypoint here.
Boeing 1 Echo, X-ray, you are 41 miles northwest. 9,000 feet. Keep speed below 210 knots. Expect RNAV runway 12 approach via Vinci transition. Cleared to Vinci.
Right. We got Vincine up. Good.
1 Echo, X-ray descent and maintain 3,000 feet. Keep speed below 210 knots.
Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Keep speed below 210 knots. Expect RNAV runway 12 approach via Vinci transition. Cleared to Vinci. Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
We are slowing down. All right. All right, this is not going to take us where we need to go, I'm going to say. Only because we are, yeah. Okay, so we are, at this point, I think, going to be best served if we fly this manually with the exception of the auto throttle. Keep us on our descent. That's Bermuda, pretty clearly. There's the runway.
Echo, X-ray, please expedite your descent to 3,000 feet.
Yeah, we're working on it. Your ATC instructions kind of messed us up there.
Boeing 1 Echo, X-ray descend and maintain 1,700 feet.
Yeah, okay.
Descend and maintain 1,700 feet. Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
I'm going to fly it around on the autopilot here for a moment.
Boeing 1 Echo, X-ray, you are 15 miles northwest of Bermuda. Contact tower on 118.1 when inbound on the approach.
Yep, will do.
Tower on 118.1 Boeing 1 Echo X-ray. Tower Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray 14 miles northwest inbound RNAV runway 12 approach.
Boeing November 781 Echo X-ray tower. Cleared RNAV runway 12 approach. Altimeter tree 0 decimal tree 1 trees 51 at 29er.
5-1 at 2-9. This is a pretty intense wind here.
Cleared RNAV runway 12 approach Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
Okay, so what we're doing here is we're backtracking a little bit because we ought to get down to some reasonable altitude. I am going to try and intercept the glide slope, or intercept the pattern at 2,500. Never mind this 1,000 nonsense. I've had this issue with several flights I've done. It's almost exclusively a 787 issue, though. When you get to a point where you're ready to begin the approach, the autopilot messes up. And if you don't know where you are, if you're not paying attention particularly, you can end up backtracking quite a distance. And you get utterly lost. So it's not something that I would recommend. But it is something that I would recommend that the team work on in terms of the bug fixes to this game because, well, you get all sorts of bugs. Especially when they don't tell you to descend until you're basically right on top of your destination, and then you've got to do this nonsense. See, we're still at 16,500 feet. It is going to be a couple of minutes before we get down there. Well, we got plenty of gas, that's no problem. Actually descend a little bit faster, that would be nice. A little bit of a pitch oscillation settling in there. It stamps itself out. Bring our flaps down, leading edge flaps are out, and go to flaps 5. Still at 12,500. There goes 10,000. Mark. All right. This is not showing me a whole bunch of anything useful. Go down a bit lower, it's somewhat more useful, but ultimately it's not showing me what I need to see on the HUD. Okay. We are going to start getting turned back in the direction of travel. Auto throttle is doing auto throttle things. All right. Okay, so we're getting back into this. (5,100 feet). We are descending to 2,500. We have some low clouds right in our general vicinity. Should break out of them before too long. It's not too bad. Can actually see Bermuda out there. So, okay, not too bad. Okay, we are closing in on our projected path. And we're down to an altitude that makes a little bit more sense. We are above the glide slope. Let's descend to 2,000. There's 2,500. Turning back onto course. Okay. Okay. I am gonna say that we could continue this. We'll be reasonably okay. They're at 2,000 feet. Not a problem. And this turn is the critical one to get us lined up with the runway. .190 knots. We'll hold. Flaps 10. At 1,700 feet. We're on a glide slope. Here's the runway. All right, we're going to disengage autopilot once the wings level out. Now. Okay, autopilot disengaged. We're just going to turn on to the glide slope and land this thing.
Boeing 1 Echo X-ray cleared to land runway 12.
Okay.
Wind tree 45 at tree 2.
Clear, come in.
Runway 12 Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
Gear down. $170 knots. We're a little low. Flaps 15. Flap 17. Flaps 20. There's flaps 20. They're saying we're below the glide slope. There's no way we're below the glide slope. Look how close we are. All right, auto throttle disengage. Yeah, we're way high here, but
200, 100, 50, 40,
come on, get it down.
30,
20. Come on. Call 20.
20, 10,
We're down. Go off the runway. Parking brake is set. Okay. Parking brake is stopped. Okay. Well, now that we burned up the brakes and almost went off the runway, we will be just fine.
Boeing 1 Echo X-ray exit runway when able.
All right, well, that was complete garbage. That was complete and utter garbage. What the hell happened there with your ATC stuff, FS? I don't know.
Boeing 1 Echo X-ray turn next taxiway. Boeing 1 Echo X-ray contact ground on 124.5.
Going to 124.5 Boeing 1 Echo X-ray.
All right, well, apparently 1.1 nautical miles away is where they want us to park. Heading back onto the runway to backtrack the other way. Some thrust reverse to get us slowed down a bit. That's a bit of a turn. I want us to park there. GA parking again, how about that? Or is it GA parking? That's another twin-engine airliner next to us. All right, maybe it's not. Maybe I'll stand corrected. Is going to make this turn any tighter, though? Where are we even in relation to our little parking bar? Undershot it a little bit. Bit of a power back. Right. All right, I've hit it dead on. I don't know what else you want me to do. Right, that's a perfect parking job. I don't know what else you want me to do. It's there, and I'm done. Fine. See, I've got ground power coming in. Don't need the APU. Forgot the APU. Got ground power in. Shut down the engine generators. Shut down both engines. And we get there with 95,500 pounds of fuel remaining. Plenty. Could have gone all the way across the Atlantic. But that's just annoying. The ATC not doing what I need them to do when I need them to do it, and then the computer wanting to backtrack. Just not good. Not good at all. And we're going a bit fast on the landing, but the winds were kind of throwing me, so I wasn't sure how slow I could get going. Turns out that landing in the other direction probably would have made more sense. Simply because that's where the headwinds were, as it were. But regardless, we got there from Newark to Bermuda, and that's what it does. Cool. Shut down the battery systems. Shut down the rest of the airplane. There it was. And now because it's dark, we have a flashlight to see in the cockpit. But in any regard, there it is, 787. We got there in the end. It was a little bit of a touch-and-go landing, pun intended. But the clouds are fairly clear over Bermuda. There's the moon. And we made it. 1 hour, 49 minutes. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. And hopefully it's warmer here than it is currently back in Newark, where we left from, because it's not fun at all. Hope you enjoyed that one, though. Until next time, Ferrari Mount 601 saying thank you very much for watching, and of course, we will see you soon.